What if one single date held the turning point of a world war, the birth of an idea that saved millions, and the accidental launch of a global empire? That date exists. It is May 8th. And once you see what happened on this day across history, you will never look at a calendar the same way. Some dates just carry more weight than others. Historians sometimes call these hinge dates. They are the moments when everything shifts, not because anyone planned it that way, but because history has a strange habit of clustering its biggest swings onto the same handful of days. May 8th is one of those days. Today we are going to walk through 3 events that happened on this date, separated by decades and centuries, each one reshaping the world in a different way. Let us start with the most dramatic one first. It is the morning of May 8th, 1945. In cities across Europe, people are waking up to something they have not heard in years. Silence. The guns have stopped. Nazi Germany has signed its unconditional surrender. The war in Europe is over. After nearly 6 years of fighting, after cities burned and families were torn apart, after the darkest chapter in modern history, it is done. Winston Churchill goes on the radio that afternoon. His voice, usually iron and fire, carries something different. Relief. He tells the British people that the war is over, and for a few moments the whole country just breathes. Crowds pour into the streets of London. People are crying and laughing at the same time. Strangers are hugging strangers. In Trafalgar Square, the celebration is so dense that photographers can barely move. It is called Victory in Europe Day, VE Day, and it is exactly what it sounds like. A victory, but not a complete one. Here is the part they do not always teach you in school. While Europe celebrates, the Pacific War is still raging. American soldiers are still dying in the islands. Japan has not surrendered. And the president who led America through most of this war, Franklin D. Roosevelt, died just weeks earlier on April 12th. He never saw this day. The man who guided a generation through its darkest moment did not get to witness the dawn. To get to that dawn, humanity paid an almost incomprehensible price. 70 million people died in World War II. 70 million. If you read one name per second, it would take over 2 years just to read them all. VE Day was not just a celebration. It was the exhale after the longest-held breath in history. So there you have it, May 8th, 1945, the day the silence finally came. But what about May 8th more than a century earlier? What kind of person is born on a day like that? The answer, as it turns out, is someone who would go on to change the way the world treats its wounded. Henry Dunant was born on May 8th, 1828, in Geneva, Switzerland. He grew up in a wealthy family with a strong sense of Christian duty. He was not a soldier, he was not a politician, he was a businessman. But in 1859, while traveling through northern Italy on a business trip, he stumbled into something that would define his entire life. He arrived near a small town called Solferino just after one of the bloodiest battles of the 19th century. 40,000 soldiers were dead or wounded. They were lying in fields, in ditches, in the streets. There was almost no organized medical care. Nobody was coming to help them. Dunant was horrified. He could not walk away. He spent days organizing local volunteers, gathering supplies, trying to bring some kind of care to the dying. When he finally returned home, he could not stop thinking about what he had seen. So he wrote a book. And then he proposed something radical. He said that every nation should have a neutral organization ready to help wounded soldiers on any battlefield, regardless of which side they were on. In 1863, 12 nations came together in Geneva and agreed. The International Red Cross was born. Today, the Red Cross operates in 192 countries. It has delivered aid through hurricanes, earthquakes, wars, and pandemics. It has trained millions of people in first aid. It has reconnected families separated by conflict. All of that traces back to one man born on May 8th who could not look away from suffering. Which makes you wonder, what are we right now choosing not to look away from? But let us lighten the mood for a moment, because May 8th also gave the world something very different. Something cold, fizzy, and impossible to escape. May 8th, 1886, Atlanta, Georgia. A pharmacist named John Stith Pemberton walks a jug of syrup down the street to a pharmacy called Jacob's Pharmacy. He mixes his syrup with carbonated water. He sells 9 glasses that day at 5 cents each. Total revenue for the day, 45 cents. He has no idea what he has just started. Pemberton marketed his drink as a nerve tonic. He thought it could cure headaches. He thought it might help people concentrate. He had no idea he was accidentally inventing one of the most recognized brands in human history. By the end of that first year, Pemberton was selling an average of 9 servings a day. Today, Coca-Cola serves 2 billion drinks every single day, in nearly every country on Earth, from a jug of syrup to a global empire. All of it started on May 8th in the back of a pharmacy in Atlanta. So there it is, one date, 3 moments, the end of a war, the birth of a humanitarian movement, the accidental beginning of a cultural institution that billions of people reach for every single day. History does not announce itself. It does not send a warning. It just happens on ordinary mornings in ordinary places through ordinary people who sometimes do extraordinary things. May 8th happened to collect more than its share of those moments. The real question is not what happened on May 8th in the past. The real question is simpler than that. Which of today's dates will future generations look back on and realize everything changed? Think about that the next time you check the calendar.